This week in gaming, Horizon gets another live service game. Xbox hardware is making less and less money, and Outer Worlds 2 has killed the franchise. This is the Nerd Cave News, and I am one of your illustrious hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by my good friend and colleague and my co-host, Derek Daniel. Derek, how's it going, my man?
Pretty good, man. Excited for another week of some. Actually, we could actually see some games again. You know, I know we had something. What was it last week? A couple weeks ago, like with some trailers, but we actually get to see some games. Not talk about Ubisoft this week, thank God. So, but talking some Xbox, which isn't really positive in some aspects, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad that we're finally getting to talk about some positive things in the gaming world, but man, oh man, it's another week, and that brings us to my favorite segment of the entire show, and that is what you've been playing. And everybody, let us know what you've been playing down in the comments below. And before we hit that, a very, very happy belated birthday to Dirty Dan himself.
Happy belated birthday, Dan.
So, Derek, what you been playing?
So, I know you were swamped at work when I texted you this morning because I always let you know when I finished the doc for the show, and I followed it up, but I think you missed it. But I rolled credits on Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Let's go.
So, first game, and obviously there's some stuff to do. Like, obviously they take you back to before the final fight. Because there's still some portals I haven't gone through, and like some expeditioning, I still have left to do. But I made it to the monolith last playthrough, and I was just like, okay, cool. I'm almost I expected to be a final fight, but no, it's like one more board you can go through, like fight some enemies. It was like pretty much taking you through all like the major story portals, or story worlds that you had gone through at that point. Like it was like an amalgam of all this. And fighting fighting all the different enemies again, having some mini bosses in there.
Okay.
Fighting some new enemies. It's weird because there was these you'll encounter, I forget if you encounter them before this. I think you do, but I paid attention to the names. Like there's like these like random enemies. One's like dark based, the other one's light based. The light based one is called Claire. The dark one is called Obscure. And I'm like, interesting. Like, it's not like bosses, but it's like, just like random enemy encounters at you. I'm like, wonder if this is a play on words or this is like what Clair Obscure means. I don't know. But, light and dark.
I know, like it does have to do with light and dark.
Got you. So,
welcome, Steffi, to the stream over on the vertical side.
So I went through there, fought the Paintress. There was a revelation that happened, and then of course there's the epilogue. Like in the epilogue, and then you fight, and then you have a couple more boss fights to get through. I'm gonna say this, still a great game. Like still a lot of story beats about grief, human connection, like the angst of complete like the weight of the human race is on your shoulders type thing. Still the combat system is so intuitive, so fluid. Like for a turn-based game, it's almost like a free flow turn-based, just because of all the stuff you can do, all the mechanics they introduce throughout the game that you can do. But the revelation that they show you after you defeat the Paintress, I don't know how to feel. And it's more so of it's a trope. I guess you can, for lack of a better, it's a trope that they go through, and I'm like I wasn't mad at it, but I'm just like, really?
Did it feel like it cheapened the story?
Not okay. From an emotional aspect, no.
Okay.
Because like after the revelation comes about, and like you're going through the epilogue, it's like, okay, like we still have stuff to fight for. Like there's still some importance to this. Like there's a whole reason we still did this expedition. And I'm like, you're right. And like I felt that through the portrayal of the actors, like that whole from the Paintress on through the epilogue. Jennifer English kills it. Ben Starr kills it. I'm just saying, like, they have some really, high emotional moments that they have, like, after this revelation, and they just nail it perfectly. Like,
Mm,
the epilogue is like the peak, like it reaches like that pinnacle of like emotional standpoint from a story aspect. So I don't feel like it cheapens the story, but I still don't know how to feel, because for me, like, having the trope that that it shows, I'm just like, eh, eh, but at the same time, like, it still didn't cheapen, like, it still didn't lessen the emotional impact. It still didn't invalidate a lot of the characters' mindsets and feelings like they had throughout this whole journey. So
mhm.
I just don't know. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on when you get to that point,
Yeah.
Zach. But that's the only real big issue I had. But
Mm.
again, for me, it did not cheapen the story. It did not, take away from the emotional points that the characters experience. It didn't take away from the hard fought trek that they did to get to this point. You know what I mean? So it still did that. I just don't know how to feel about the trope.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm very curious how I'm going to feel once we get to that part. For
Yeah.
me, I just got to SK and I've got to go get his rock
Yeah.
from his neighbor.
Him and his rocks.
So that's where I'm at in my playthrough. I'm not sure how far away. Last time I checked before I played Tuesday, I was like 17% through the game.
Yeah.
So
I'll say it's pretty early, but um, SKA opens up some things once you start collecting his rocks.
yeah, SKA. That's right. That's how you say his name. Um, well, dude, where would you rank it? Like, what would you like? A B C D E. I mean, well, A B C D F. Like, where is this at for
For
you?
me, for me, just because it's been a minute since I played a turn-based game, like, like, obviously I probably played something before that, but like the last turn-based game I really enjoyed was Lord of the Rings: The Third Age on PlayStation 2. Because
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I played some Pokemon games here and there as well, but like console-based, like that was the last turn-based game I've played. It's just because like all other systems really turned me off to that, just because of like the grind. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
And
JRPGs, it's like
and
very
not actually
grindy.
getting to do anything while it's someone else's turn.
Correct. So whereas this one, it's like, oh, you can counter, you can parry, you can dodge. You know what I mean? It's like it gives
Hmm.
you the opportunity to stop some things. Um, I'm put it at an A, man, just because again, like the emotion, like not just the story, but like the emotion behind it, the connection, like you would feel like as obviously there's like some supernatural stuff, like some power based system going on, but like
Yeah.
it's some real world stuff that you can relate to it as a human. You know what I mean? In like an
Hmm.
everyday life. And then again, just like the combat system, like again, it was such a smart, intuitive combat system for me for a turn based game. And I'm not trying to say that is like demeaning or demoralizing to it. It's like, oh, for a turn-based game, you know
No.
what I mean? But it's for me who hasn't had that much experience with turn-based games, it was really great to see that. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I could go back to any other system outside of this one. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like I will base the future turn-based games based on this system.
Yeah. The only one that has come like this one is a little bit more active than Sea of Stars, but
Yeah,
Sea of Stars is the only other active turn-based game that I've played and absolutely loved because I wasn't bored during the combat when it wasn't
correct.
my turn. It was like, oh well, I'm gonna get hit regardless, or some RNG is I might dodge it or whatever.
Yeah.
But actually being able to, you know, dodge or parry or whatever it may be, jump and all of that, like it's made the game way more engaging. Sea of Stars, same thing, where you're able to even boost your attacks if you time things the right
Wow.
way. Kind of the same way when you get like perfects, when the X and
Right.
all of that, very similar. It's, again, more sprite based and everything. But dude, if you ever get the itch to play Sea of Stars, I think you would enjoy it just because it's very similar
Okay.
in that. But the story, dude, is so amazing. And I can't wait to actually get further in the story. Now I'm in uncharted territory because up till now, my playthrough has just been rehashing what I played the
Right.
first time through. So now being at SKA's place and everything, it's totally new. So I'm
Yeah.
on kind of the ride with everybody else at this point and
Cool.
just enjoying it and getting. Is her name Seal?
CL.
CL. Like her like combat system and everything, I think is really really cool.
Yes. I love her combat system. It feels like, and I don't know how, because I don't know how like you put like the distribution points. Like I always feel weird because I take the Thanos approach. I just feel like everything should be balanced. Like I know people pour more points into certain attributes than others, but I just go through. I just go down the line like three. I like put these three in this first three categories, then just go down the go down the row. But I feel like she is very much like a glass cannon because again, until you get like the Pictos, like certain Pictos and all that, it's like her health was like the lowest out of all my team for a while, and it felt like she took a lot of damage, but she could also deal a lot of damage. You know what I mean? Especially if you comboed it right, especially with some of the skills she gets later on.
I think if you use like Mael's, like she has guard up, I think that would do really well with CL.
There's a move that Mael gets, like, guard up, but there was a move that came up with Mael that it does damage, but it's also called breaking rule breaker. And it basically, it takes, like, if an enemy, like there's enemies that, generate shields, and like there's some like that, there's one that you'll encounter later on that like it's a masochist, like it does damage to itself, but it gains like so many shields, and like if you don't take them all out, it just keeps adding to itself because it does that. It has two different moves, but it keeps stabbing itself to gain shields every turn. But Mael learns an ability that takes away all the shields. So that way you don't have to go through and waste your AP points just to
take the shield
away.
out. That's the most annoying part, like fighting any of those shield bosses and everything. Okay, that's exciting. And like the variety that's in each person's skill trees, I think is just a testament to like what creativity looks like in this kind of game. And each character does play different. And of course, I only have 4 at the moment, so I only know that it's only going to get bigger and better as we go on. But yeah, man, I've been playing that. I played a little bit of Death Stranding 2, of course. But I played a new game this weekend. And it was one that was sent to us. So, shout out to getting a free code for all of that. So take whatever I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But it's this cozy game. I literally got it on my Steam Deck. It's called Cats and Cups. And you are a barista.
I'm a kitty cat.
You're a cat barista at a cat cafe, and you're making coffee.
All the otakus just went crazy.
You're literally making coffee, and like it's not a perfect game. It doesn't really explain a lot of stuff. You just kind of jump into it, but it is very addicting. I played a few hours just playing this game on, I think it was Sunday or whatever. And I was just over there just like, I just couldn't put it down. I don't know why. And I was like, this game's for Amy. I was like, this isn't something for me. But I started playing and I'm like, oh man, I'm over here. And literally like, you can't serve dogs. Like you don't serve dogs, but like a dog will show up and literally like held me at not gunpoint, but like extorted me for money. And then another one like broke all of my machines. And I'm like,
what a jerk.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, okay. But yeah, it's really cute. It's a lot of fun. Cats and Cups. If you're interested, go check it out. It's on Steam. It's pretty cheap, but it was a lot of fun to play. And I'm excited for Amy to get a hold of it and see what she thinks about it. But this weekend, looking forward to some Death Stranding 2. And I did get Octopath Traveler, so I'm very excited to start playing that.
Which one? The first one, I'm assuming?
The first one, yeah.
Got you. Because I know there's like 3 now, and like even there's one in like Triangle Strategy, which is like in that same universe.
Yeah, there's Octopath Traveler, then 2, then 0, which is someone that
what in the Final Fantasy numbering is this?
Yeah, yeah. I literally, there's somebody on Substack. Her name's Amy J. She was playing it. And I was like, which one should I start with? She was like, start with 1. She's like, go 1, 2, and then 0. I'm like, okay, cool. Because she's played like 100 hours of 0.
Jeez.
And I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna listen to somebody that's been playing this.
Yeah.
And but I'm very excited about it. I know Nate has talked about Octopath Traveler, so it's something that I'm really looking forward to getting into. For some comments here, Amy says playing Animal Crossing as usual.
Right.
Joe says my wife jumped on Animal Crossing recently too, which she's gonna be sucked in. I know Amy talks about that because it is very addicting. And then Joe said my wife and I are going to jump back into the original Lego Star Wars. It was $5 last weekend.
Wow.
There you go. Lego Star Wars like just holds up.
It does.
Like, I like the original. I like the old school ones more than I like the one that we got.
Saga.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited for the Batman one that we're getting this year.
Yes, 100%.
That
May
one looks
29th, I think it is, or somewhere around that.
It's gonna be dope. Guys, let us know what you've been playing down below. But it's time for the gaming discussion this week. Let's jump into it. Gorilla finally announces their Horizon Live Service game, and this is by Wesley Yunpool at IGN.
And we've got a trailer.
That is right, Derek. Let's check out this trailer.
From the ashes of the old world came machines. For ages, they were the guardians of the natural world. And they turned against us.
Freaking called me, man.
I know, dude.
They're getting deadlier by the day. All across the land, people are dying. That's why our leader gave me this command. We have to fight.
We're just going to nod.
Right.
And to do that, we need a team. Soldiers
Oh, that's dope.
who always hold the line.
Okay.
And mercenaries
Bertha.
who may have crossed it now and then.
Let's go, girl.
Infiltrators
Oh.
who hide in the dark.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And champions
Looks like
who shine
something from
in the
Avatar.
light.
Right.
Upstarts whose stories are just beginning.
It's like
And legends
a washed up Maui.
looking for one last shot.
Looks like a Junkrat got off the map.
Yeah.
The last line of defense for those who need it most. Made up of the greatest hunters in the land. This is Hunters
He even has the
Gathering.
Maui hook.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's jump into what Wesley Yunpool has to say about it.
So Sony has finally announced Gorilla's Horizon live service multiplayer game, Horizon Hunters Gathering, and it's due out for PlayStation 5 and PC. A quote small-scale closed playtest is due at the end of February, which you can sign up for via the PlayStation Beta program. Expect crossplay and cross progression. There's no release date yet, nor is there word on whether it's free to play or a premium game. As you can see from the trailer and screenshots, Horizon Hunter's Gathering has a cartoony art style, which is in contrast to the photorealistic visuals of the mainline Horizon series. Clearly, Sony and Guerrilla are trying to create a more lighthearted experience with Hunter's Gathering, with Zero Dawn and Forbidden West more serious offerings. There are strong Monster Hunter vibes to it as well. In a post on the PlayStation blog, game director Arjen Bach, however you pronounce his first name, said that in Horizon Hunter's Gathering, you fight deadly machines in tactical 3-player co-op action and adapt your hunter for intense missions. Quote, combat is tactical, reactive, and deeply skill-based, building on the tactical precision of the Horizon games while embracing the dynamics of team play. The foundation of Horizon Hunter's Gathering centers around challenging and replayable hunts. Bach confirmed 2 game modes: Machine Incursion, which is described as a, quote, high-intensity mission where waves of machines pour out from underground gateways led by a formidable boss, and Cauldron Descent, a longer, multi-stage trial in which ever-changing rooms push hunters to their limits, from brutal machine encounters to hidden doors that promise power and reward for teams prepared to open them. Both modes will be available in the upcoming closed playtest. There's a roster of hunters to play as, each with distinct melee or ranged playstyles and weapons. Bach said there's also a roguelite perk system to craft the build you want. Story-wise, there's a narrative campaign which will introduce new mysteries, characters, and threats. But we're keeping it under wraps for now, Bach said. What we can say is that Hunter's Gathering is fully canon and its story doesn't stop at launch. The Social Hub is the name of the game, Hunter's Gathering. It's a vibrant social hub where players can connect, prepare, and celebrate victories together. Here you can customize your hunters, visit vendors, upgrade gear, and team up for your next adventure. So, Zach, what does this do for you? Because I know while it is a different art style, I feel like this is because, we got that other one.
Steel Frontier.
Thank you. Steel Frontier last year that we saw. That we're like, oh, is this the one that's, Guerrilla and whatnot, but it wasn't on PlayStation, and it turns out it wasn't. This is the one that Guerrilla, has been working on in some time. What does this do for you? Because it is very, like, you can even see Hunter's Gathering, in the name itself. It feels very, like, Monster Hunter-esque. Like, they're definitely evoking a lot of Monster Hunter, but making it more live service. So, I know Monster Hunter prides itself on, they've opened up the 4-player co-op now with a lot of like online stuff, but there's not, it's not really been a multiplayer like social hub. Like there's always been like a story tied to it as well, which I know this one does, but not any modes outside of that per se. So what does this do for you? Like, does this, I know we know we're on record for how we feel about the ending of Horizon 2, which they did go on and say, hey, 3 is somewhere down the road, but they've got a lot of Horizon projects in the works right now. What does this do for you? Where does this sit on your radar?
So this one, it didn't really move the needle for me. I'll just be honest. From what I just, I saw, and I watched, there's a 19-minute or so version of this where it does have like the director talking about it, and you do see some combat and everything. It gives me the vibe of, like, the art style definitely feels more like Fortnite and everything.
Yeah.
But the combat, from what it was looking like, definitely feels more like Immortal Phoenix Rising or whatever that game was called.
Yeah.
It feels like more cartoony, and I don't know. I need it in my hands before I can really tell for sure. Yes, I'll check it out. I'll try it out and everything, but this doesn't necessarily do anything for me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like, Steel Frontier looked better to my opinion, just because the graphic style. I think this will do well though, because if this will probably make more money than Horizon does normally.
Yeah, normally. Well, and it will depend too, because there's still a debate whether it's going to be free to play or like an initial purchase.
It'll probably be $40. That's what kind of how Sony's been doing their live service games. Is like
that's the going rate, as they say.
Yeah, it's like there's a barrier to entry, $40, and then you can buy. Pack. Yeah, then you can buy currency or whatever inside of it. So I think that's probably what we'll see here. But it's just very interesting that Sony is really doubling down on Horizon, because we've not only gotten this one, we got Steel Frontiers, we got the Lego game, we've got
Yes.
the VR game, and
Yes.
it's like we're also, I don't know if it got canceled or not, but there was the show that was going to be worked on and everything.
No, that's still in the works. It's
Okay.
It says, so what I think in that same article I read that the show is supposedly planned to shoot this year and air next year.
Okay. So they're really going hardcore in this. And I do think Horizon has a very lush world that they can
Yes.
pull from. And I'm fine with more projects. I'm fine for them to do more things in there. I just want them to make sure that whatever they do, that it is up to the quality that people expect from the franchise, and not
Correct.
just another gotcha game or just a cash grab
Yeah.
that's in there. And
Especially when you make the line that, oh, this is gonna, like, the story and this is gonna be canon to the Horizon universe. I'm like, okay, here we go. It's Star Wars all over again, where everything, video games, all this is all canon in the main line. I'm like, okay.
yeah, and it's like, okay, is it going to actually have any bearing on anything? Who knows?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't want it to feel like it's being shoehorned in,
Right.
just to kind of make it more valid of a game. But I think because the art style is so Fortnite-y,
Yeah.
that it will bring in a different audience than what we're used to for the franchise, which
Correct.
I think can be good, because Derek, I don't know a lot of like non-millennials that are just like, oh, Horizon, you know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like it's more of like our age demographic and everything that's been playing it, maybe a little bit younger, but I don't see teenagers talking about, oh man, I loved Horizon. You know
Not
what I
really.
mean?
I mean, I guess if we hung out at a GameStop, for a couple hours, you might hear a few here and there. But you're right; it's definitely our generation that's more attuned, and I think that's just the changing of times, right? Like the younger generations have more grown up with the multiplayer, like the Call of Duties, the Fortnites, like
Yeah.
just used to that, and they don't do a lot of story. Whereas that's all we had for a long period of time was the story, so we're enthralled by that aspect.
Yeah, and them doing this kind of version, I think, will give us more people into playing the series,
Yeah.
which will actually give it more legs for the full-blown stories and everything. So,
Correct.
I want to try it out, sign up for the beta program and everything and see if I get in, and then we'll see from there,
Yeah.
we'll go from there. But I'm excited that the series is getting more love.
Me too. So I fell in love with the world when they first unveiled Horizon back in 2016. Loved it ever since then. Haven't looked back. I get it's like this new generation's God of War. Like anytime I see Horizon pop up, I'm locked in.
Well, the thing that hasn't been getting a lot of love,
Could it be Xbox?
it is definitely Xbox. Let's talk about the future of Xbox hardware. Xbox hardware revenue has been dropping for 2 years straight, and this is by Rebecca Valentine at IGN.
So Xbox has been having a hard time selling consoles lately, and it didn't get any better over the 2025 holiday quarter. Microsoft has just reported in its Q2 2026 earnings, including the news that hardware sales were down 32% year over year, after quarter upon quarter of hardware declines. Though we don't have actual numbers to tell how much revenue is being lost out on here, we can get a sense of how grim this is for the hardware by looking at past quarters. Last quarter, which is Q1 of 2026, hardware declined 29% year over year. The quarter before that, in Q4 of 2025, hardware was down 22%. The quarter before that, down 6%. Before that, down another 29%. And before that, 29% again, all the way in Q1 of 2025, which was July to September of 2024. And going back even further through Microsoft's earnings report, the prior year quarters saw declines of 42% in Q4 of 2024 and 31% in Q3. In fact, you have to go all the way back to Q2 of 2024, which was October through December of 2023, to find the last time Xbox's hardware revenue was better during that period than it was the year before. It was up a whopping 3% over the holiday quarter. And yes, it was down 7% the quarter before that, 13% before that, down 30% before that, down 13% before that, and finally up 13% year over year in Q1 of 2023, or July through September of 2022, at which point the numbers start finally showing consistent improvement year over year, largely due to proximity to the launch of the Series X, S, and X. Now, look, it's extremely normal for a 6-year-old console to not be selling as well as it was in the first few years after launch. That's to be expected. Early adopters tend to buy up consoles in large quantities at launch. Distributors run out of stock. More is produced. People continue to buy until the vast majority of enthusiasts who want the console already have one. And then sales slow down as the console gets older. But it usually takes a bit longer to get to that point. For comparison's sake, we have evidence that neither the PlayStation 5 nor the Switch have had this much trouble on this scale selling systems at this stage in their respective life cycles. And certainly not as far back as less than 3 years after launch. There's maybe a reason why we have had hard unit sale numbers of Switches and PS5s from Nintendo and PlayStation, but no official numbers whatsoever from Xbox on the Series S and X. None of this is surprising to anyone who's paying attention. We've been reading headlines about the struggles of the Xbox Series consoles for the last several years now. In the US, Xbox console sales hit an all-time November low in 2025 after several years in a row of declining hardware sales in what is usually the busiest retail month with Black Friday. These more recent struggles are likely tied as well to the 2 spikes in Xbox console prices just this year, which saw the last expensive Xbox rise to $400 and the most expensive to an unimaginable $800. Its recently released ROG Ally launched last year at a whopping $1,000. And because much of the high prices are tariff-related, the US, Xbox's biggest market, is primarily impacted here. According to Circana analyst Matt Piscatella, speaking to us last December, the average price per Xbox unit in the US has risen 30% year over year in 2025. Xbox seems to be well aware that its console business is seriously suffering. While it's promised a new next-gen console to follow the series, it's also said such a console would be a, quote, very premium, very high-end curated experience. And even though there have been many rumors, it's considering backing off about its hardware plans recently, Xbox is still denying them, even as a former Xbox founding member says that, quote, Xbox hardware is dead. While the hardware declines were the most noteworthy figure from Xbox's earnings yesterday, it's not like software was doing a whole lot better. Content and services revenue dropped 5% year over year, and overall gaming declines caused revenue in the more personal computing segment of Microsoft to drop 3% year over year. In the investor presentation, CFO Amy Hood said that the revenue drop was driven by first-party content with impact across the platform, suggesting that its first-party games, perhaps Call of Duty, didn't do as well as they expected them to. And so there's a lot to unpack there. And my first thought was when the hardware declined, I'm like, okay, but their whole shtick now is Game Pass, put it everywhere. Everything is on Xbox. If it can run games, put it there. What has that done? And then at the end, they say, oh, even the software sales and the service sales are down. I'm like, well, that ain't good. So Zach, obviously we're not saying Xbox is going to be dead, but do you think that the new Xbox, that the next Xbox console we get is going to be its last?
It feels like that. And we talked about this with the Switch coming from the Wii U. It was like, if this doesn't hit, this could be Nintendo's last console, and then they absolutely knocked it out of the park. But Xbox, I feel like they don't have their eye on the prize to be a console manufacturer anymore. They're in the game side of things. They're a developer more than anything, and they're pushing the technology that they've painstakingly developed. I like their cloud gaming services. I think it is very good. It runs really well. I can play on my PC, I can play on my Steam Deck, I can play on my phone, I can do all the things just from Game Pass Ultimate, which is amazing. And it doesn't look bad, and it's streaming like real time. That is awesome. But how many people are going to do that? I don't know, but
Yeah.
them integrating into Samsung TVs and everything can be an Xbox.
Yeah.
Dude, how many people will be like, okay, we can't afford $1,000 console, but I can pay $30 for the next 6 years. I don't even know what that math is.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like, if you can get people doing that, you're going to make money and your overhead is going to be way lower than having to constantly every 6 to 10 years develop a new console that you're going to take a loss on. So I think the reason why we see the revenue on the even like the content side dropping is, yes, Xbox had a heck of a year with new titles last year. Did they necessarily, move the needle on sales? Maybe not, because you have Game Pass. Like, I don't know what content and service, I guess that services revenue is part of that, but it's like, okay, what is actually going to get people to buy Game Pass or these games separately?
Right.
I'm curious also, is like, how much of their revenue did they see get increased because of putting stuff on PlayStation? That's something new that happened last year that they weren't really doing before. And now every game is coming to PlayStation. Every time you see a trailer, you see the PlayStation logo, and
all the games you saw at the developer direct were coming to PlayStation.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you're opening up a new revenue source. Today's developer direct, which was a partner direct for Nintendo, a lot of those games were Microsoft Xbox games. Oblivion remaster, the oh my god,
Indiana Jones.
Like, there were several of them on the list, and it was like, okay, that's pretty cool that they're coming to the Switch 2, because Switch 2 is selling like hotcakes, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool to see, but I also think people are spending less money right now than they ever have because of the way the country is, the economy, tariffs, Amy, I roll, Joe knows tariffs and COVID, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's, people they want to know that they're supporting something that's going to last. And that's why you see Nintendo and PlayStation, they're doubling, tripling down on their consoles, where Xbox has been clear with its messaging. We're not really sure about this.
Yes.
So it's like, if you're not sure about it and you're the one that made it, why should we be?
Right. It's sort of like, you invent this brand new product. It's like, seems all right. And I'm like, you're the one who invented it. Why did you do like, it almost feels like you fell through halfway through the concept phase, and now it's like, it's not my baby anymore. I don't care.
Yeah. It's like you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
So I just did some math. ChatGPT did. So if someone paid, because it's $30 right now for Ultimate, $30 for 6 years, console cycle, normal console cycle this generation, $2,160.
Wow.
So if you get people on Game Pass, it's actually better than doing the whole console side of things.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Let's jump into some comments real quick, Derek, before we hit the next story. Michael says, have a feeling once Steam Machine comes out, Xbox and PlayStation will be on live support. Xbox will. I don't think PlayStation will.
Agreed, because PlayStation has its lineup of exclusive games to keep it going, and they have a whole different hardware ecosystem to fall back on as well. Whereas Xbox just pretty much is putting all their eggs in the Game Pass basket at this point, with some side notes like, we'll throw out the ROG Ally, we'll do another console, but Game Pass, that's where it's at. So I do agree about Xbox though.
Yeah, they want to be everywhere, and if they can cut that overhead, they're going to totally do that. Joe says, I think PS will come back from Steam Machine, but Xbox won't. Yep.
Agreed.
Dan, we said it earlier in the show, but happy belated birthday. Game Pass will live on for sure. And I think to your point, Derek, PlayStation just has studios that people want to play their games.
Correct. Like you throw up Naughty Dog, people will be there. Santa Monica, people will be there. Gorilla, people will be there.
And to be honest, Xbox doesn't really have that anymore. They've literally killed the studios that they've had.
Yep. Was it Bungie? They
Bungie?
let go.
Yeah.
What was it? Cliffy B's studio.
Oh God, man, you just Epic.
Was it Epic Games?
Yeah, and then Coalition became the
okay, but yeah,
but Coalition's is literally just a support studio and everything.
Yep. So, but yeah, it's
and then 343 just kind of crap the bed too,
right? And I mean, Turn 10, like they do the motorsport, but now Playground Games is like pretty much the better Forza maker, and now they're into doing the Fable remake or what have you. So, Playground's overtaken Turn 10, and they bought Playground Games like a while, like 10 years ago. What was it? And what there was another one too. Oh, Lionhead's dead. That was the original Fable studio. So
yeah, and it's like they've bought other things, but they've mishandled Call of Duty. Nobody really cares about Call of Duty.
Nope.
Nobody's chomping at the bit. Like, yes, there are still tons of active players and everything on Warzone and all of that, but it's not the same. And clearly, even in this whole thing, they were talking about how Call of Duty didn't perform up to expectations this past year. And it's like, probably because it sucked.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Blizzard too. Like I know it's in a quick hit. I know they're trying to, they did the whole Overwatch presentation, but they killed Overwatch with Overwatch 2. You know what I mean? Like they took all the momentum that Overwatch 1 did and just was like, nope.
Yeah. They were taking a page out of Price is Right, got to spade and neuter your pets, and they definitely did it with Overwatch. they took it right out. But yeah, let's talk about next gen Xbox. It could actually launch in 2027, hence AMD. And this is by Luke Riley at IGN.
So AMD CEO Lisa Su has referenced a potential 2027 launch for Microsoft's next generation Xbox console during a company earnings call today, reported via PC Mag. Quote, from a product standpoint, Valve is on track to begin shipping its AMD-powered Steam machine early this year, and development of Microsoft's next-gen Xbox featuring an AMD semi-custom SoC is progressing well to support a launch in 2027, Su said. A system on a chip, or SoC, is an integrated circuit that essentially squeezes all or most of the components of a computer onto a single unit. Su remarks came in the wake of news that AMD anticipates revenue related to semi-custom chips manufacturing like those inside both the Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 will fall during 2026 by a significant double-digit percentage. Microsoft confirmed its partnership with AMD on its next generation Xbox project back in June of 2025, quote, announcing that we're building the next generation of Xbox first-party devices and cloud, including our future Xbox consoles together with AMD. Microsoft noted in a statement at the time, promising next-level performance, cutting-edge graphics, breakthrough gameplay, and unmatched compatibility. There are few specifics available, but Microsoft has officially clarified that the next generation Xbox would be fully compatible with users' existing Xbox game library. However, an unconfirmed report in October last year also alleged the next Xbox will arrive on as a console PC hybrid that can run Steam. So I've got a few thoughts, because obviously they tend to only announce a new console the year it's actually going to come out. But I feel like them rumbling, and I'm not discrediting. I was like, oh, the new chips are going to launch this year, so it's going to increase production, like with the Steam machine and everything like that. At the same time, that doesn't mean, like, this is just speculating, but that doesn't mean that it's going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, it would be a different trend, because it's like the last couple of console generations, like this current one and the one before it, they've kind of, like, PlayStation and Xbox have kind of launched together, because we talked about it last week, how the next PlayStation won't launch till after 2028. The last time I think they did a split launch was the PS3 360 era, where 360 came out in 2005. PlayStation 3 came out a year later. But I'm not saying they can't do that, but it just seems like, especially after all this revenue, we just talked about how this revenue decline over the last several years for them. It feels like, why you're losing money? Why would you just abandon ship and just launch something that might be another money pit again? You know what I mean? And with all the goings on and everything, like you're closing studios left and right, putting studios back in support roles, it's like, is this the right move to do? Like in the midst of all this shakeup, that's like Ubisoft announcing, the next, major Assassin's Creed game in the midst of all this turmoil. It's like, why would you do that? Like, this is not the right move.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What's your take on all this, Zach? Do you think that this will hold true, or do you think that this is just pretty much like speculation?
For me, I think this is their next go at a handheld. This is not a actual console.
Gotcha.
Like with the PC console hybrid thing, it's just another ROG Ally, whatever.
Which they did say, with the ROG Ally, Xbox did say, we're still doing our own internal handheld as well.
Yeah, I just feel like, yes, they have this partnership with AMD. AMD and Xbox probably have their own chips. Like they have like a collection of them and everything. And the ROG Ally X, whatever, Xbox Ally, whatever it's called, did sell really well.
Right.
It did sell well. I don't know how many units they had when they launched and everything, but they did sell out and all that stuff. So I don't think that this is a full-blown console, because it just doesn't make sense in this environment. Everything that you were just saying, I 100% agree with. It's like, yeah, you can put out a console, but does it really, is it going to really work at this point in time?
And also it's like, okay, and again, not to say that this trend always follows suit, but it's like, why would you say that why would you, they haven't even really ramped up, there's been no talk of dev kits, because you would start handing out dev kits at this point, right? So that way, whatever game, if it does come out next year, your developers have games ready to go for it at launch. You know what I mean? But also it's like again, last week we talked about, it's 2026, the PS6 or whatever, the next PlayStation won't come out till 2028 or later. It's like, that's several years down the road. Like, why are you doing it? Why would you speculate this is coming out a year before it does? You know what I mean? Like, It just feels like it's such a quick turn. It almost feels like, and it's kind of apples to oranges on this one, but it's almost like, remember years ago, in the height of peak MCU era, like when they're getting ready to announce phase 3, had a whole song and dance, like we took an amphitheater and just did like a timeline, went down the road. And in response to that, DC's just like had a phone conference call and was just like, all right, we're going to do this whole, and just listed off a list of all the movies they're going to do. And years down the road, not even half of them stuck the landing or even came out. So this feels like Xbox is like, put it out next year. And the PlayStation's like, we got stuff. We're going to keep riding this train down for a few more years.
Yeah. You can tell when somebody's on their back foot.
Yeah.
And clearly that's what's going on here with Xbox. So hopefully they figure it out. Hopefully they get everything taken care of and actually continue to think about the players and not the pocket. And yes. I think that's where they're having some issues. Some value sets are not aligning right now within the company. So only time will tell with that. And I just want to take a few comments real quick before we go into our mid-roll. Dan says, maybe since I'm 33, then maybe it's my time to go on an expedition.
Well, by that note, I should have been gamaged already then.
True.
So.
Which, it's also Dan hit his Jesus year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a correlation, like Expedition 33, the savior of the world, and Jeebus.
Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't played far enough.
But,
probably not. But I just thought about that when he brought that up. And then Amy hurting us over here with truth. The 360 is 20 years old. Why you got to hurt me like that?
Yep. And the PS3 will be 20 years old. This crazy. Like they talking about Like there's stuff on TikTok. It's like, these songs are turning 20 years old this year, and I'm like, listening to something like, man, Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm old.
Yeah. Do you remember, like, I know on the PlayStation 3 they had like the folding thing that you could use, like put your like
the little flap.
No, well, yes, they had the flap, but I'm talking about like you could put your PlayStation 3, like its computing power to use for like, they were like trying to find like a cure for cancer or whatever. And like,
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Like it was really cool where it's like if you were hooked up to the internet, you could, like, there was like a group and everything, and like it would literally like try to find like a cure, but they were using all the PlayStation 3's like processing powers to like, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Wild.
Yeah. Amy says Zach's B-Day is Sunday. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
So
and
he'll be homaged as a present.
Y'all would be sad. Y'all be sad. Y'all be sitting at the pier and y'all be crying. Joe, he's gonna be old. Now I'm going to be like a fine wine. Getting better every time.
Just with a bad back.
My back is good, thank you very much. Apparently Amelia is on Tuesday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Everybody having birthdays.
I know.
Everybody having birthdays. All right, guys. For my birthday, I'm going to ask you to go over and listen to us on podcast services around the globe. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course here on YouTube. We have a YouTube podcast as well of the Nerd Cave News and Eat Sleep Anime. It helps us out a ton if you go watch over there as well. If you know someone that's really, really into podcasts and they want to keep up on all the nerdy video game news and anime stuff, have them subscribe over there. It helps us out a ton. It really does. It tells people, hey, you should have these people in your ears.
All right.
Listen to them. So go do that. Be part of the ship, part of the crew. Let's talk about Obsidian and their woes. Obsidian's The Outer Worlds 2 underperformed, and there won't be a third entry. And this is by our boy Tom Phillips at IGN.
So, veteran role-playing game maker Obsidian Entertainment has no plans to continue The Outer Worlds with a third game, the studio has confirmed. As part of a Bloomberg interview, Obsidian revealed that last year's Outer Worlds 2 has underperformed and a sequel is not in development. Avowed, the company's other blockbuster RPG released last year, also missed its targets, but Obsidian reportedly still has plans for more from its world of Eora, the same setting as Pillars of Eternity. On a more positive note, Grounded 2, yet another 2025 launch, was a hit, but of the three, it had the shortest and almost certainly the cheapest development period by far. Grounded 2 took just over 2 years to meet its early access launch, compared to the more than 6 years required for both Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. In 2025, Xbox trumpeted the fact that Obsidian was about to launch 3 games in just 8 months, with Avowed hitting in February, Grounded 2 launching in early access in July, and Outer Worlds 2 arriving in October. But the effort was the result of things going wrong, studio design director Josh Sawyer has now said, and something that is unlikely to be repeated. Spacing those releases helps the company manage its resources and not burn everybody out, Sawyer told Bloomberg. It's not good to release 3 games in the same year. It's the result of things going wrong. Spacing those releases helps the company manage its As for the Outer Worlds 2's prolonged development, Bloomberg's report simply states that the project was made more difficult by the pandemic and technical challenges. Now, Obsidian's focus is reportedly fixed on ensuring games can be made on shorter development timelines, with releases more spaced out and with as generous a profit margin from Microsoft as they can get away with. I don't think anybody really likes 5, 6, 7-year dev cycles, noted Brandon Adler, who served as director on The Outer Worlds 2. We've kind of grown into that. Referencing Microsoft's eye-opening 30% profit margin target for some Xbox studios, Obsidian boss Fergus Urquhart excuse me, said he hoped the company still continued to fund riskier projects and accepted that, quote, we are going to be from maybe where we are going to be from a profitability standpoint isn't going to be 30%. Obsidian is yet to announce its next project following 2025's exhaustive release schedule. Work on Grounded 2 continues, of course, and it sounds like Eora will be returned to. Avowed will also launch for PlayStation 5 later this month. As for what else might be in the pipeline, time will tell. Quote, I know everyone on the internet on every game we ever announce will constantly reference back to when's the next New Vegas. So yeah, it's kind of shocking to know that see that Outer Worlds 2, especially after how well Outer Worlds 1 did, that it underperformed it. Now, I know a lot of like reviews when Outer Worlds 2 came out said it just kind of felt more of the same. Like there was some improvements, but it didn't feel like it moved the needle as far as a storytelling comparison. And it's also weird. Like I liked Avowed a lot. You know, I played a good chunk of that game earlier when it released last year. That they're going to revisit that like instead of Outer Worlds, which kind of feels like more of like when Outer Worlds first came out, like the first one, it felt like that was going to be their next iteration of New Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, so it felt like they were going to take off, and I get it because Avowed's a new IP. Like they want to give it another give that another go, just to be fair. At the same time, how many new IP don't get a sequel at the same time? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird that this one is getting that by review standards did less than Outer Worlds 2, that it's going to get a sequel, but Outer Worlds 3 is not. But also it's like how much production value went into that. And he talks about the long dev cycles. We get that, like everyone like across every studio is like, look, it takes longer to make great games, but let's try and figure out ways to shorten that life cycle, even if it means like the games aren't as long, aren't like 100-hour RPG long. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know. I do think that they did, like Microsoft, maybe whether it was Obsidian, whether it was Microsoft putting their feet to the fire and be like, we need all three of these games to come out this year. So make it work somehow. I don't think I think it was a detriment to them. Like, yeah, they championed that, oh, we put out 3 games in a single calendar year. I don't think that helped them, though, obviously, because, again, it was like Grounded 2 did well, but, again, that was more of the same from Grounded 1, and it's an early access game, so it's not a full, complete game to an extent. So Avowed was a good B-tier title. You know, Grounded 2 came out in early access. We'll see how that game develops, because it took Grounded 1, you know, a long time with many updates for it to be successful, and people like to take it, you know, for it to be considered like a really enjoyable game. And then Outer Worlds 2, which underperformed, like, and again, people like spoiling a quick hit, people blame that, you know, the underperforming sales on the initial Microsoft trying to initially release the game at $80 and then backtracking, but people were already kind of burned by that. It's like, not going to fool me, so I'm not going to buy the game. So maybe that spurned it too. I don't know. I feel like, you know, we made comments that Obsidian is trying to be the place that, like, Xbox is Insomniac. You know, like you turn around and every year it feels like Insomniac's releasing another game. But I feel like they need to take a step back and dial it back and like do a game every other year. Whereas, you know, Insomniac, if Insomniac ever released 3 games in a single calendar year, we'd all be like, I don't think that's it, Chief. You know what I mean? Like, we'd all be very cautious about it and probably only get one of those. But Zach, what do you think? Like, what do you think it's a fair shake to not make an Outer Worlds 3? But again, they could always hit that button and be like, oh, now we changed our minds. We're going to do it just like how Bungie did it. Now, Bungie has a different reason for doing that, but we talked about, they're not going to do Destiny 3. You know, we're just going to continue Destiny 2 and making it a tale. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, no, we never said that. Destiny 3 is quietly going into production now because we're failing on other aspects.
Yeah, I think that this is when a publisher tells a developer what to do, clearly. Yes. And yes, just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And I think that is the gaming industry as a whole, especially when the publishers hold the developers coins. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It really puts them in an interesting position. And yes, like it is impressive that you can literally ship 2 massive RPGs and then a very interesting multiplayer, game that, yes, it is building off the back of its
The
first
one.
iteration and everything, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense because I feel like Avowed didn't really get the fair shake that it deserved.
Right.
It came out and that was it. And
Mhm.
then we got the Oblivion remake shortly after that.
Mhm.
It was just like, I don't feel like Xbox really knows how to set a launch calendar for a year and make sure that their games shine. It feels a lot like when Battlefield 1 and
Oh,
Titanfall 2 came out, with Call of Duty all the way around that. And it's like, that's what it feels like, that they're cutting their nose off to spite their face.
Mhm.
And I want Obsidian to do well. I think they really do make interesting, unique worlds. And I wanted to like Avowed a lot more than I did, but it just didn't really ring true for me.
Right.
I loved Outer Worlds 1. I didn't try Outer Worlds 2 because it didn't really I didn't feel like I needed more.
Right.
And I think that's the thing with any kind of we even heard it from Ghost of Yote. Oh, it's more of the same.
Right.
And it's like, it's not. It's a lot, like there's so many improvements, but there's a lot of new interesting things that you're getting with story and all of that. But when you can literally say, oh, it is more of the same thing, and it's just literally 6 years later and you're just getting a different story and there's nothing been really improved, because like, even though that people enjoy a game doesn't mean that it's good.
Correct.
So
I mean, and again, different strokes for different blokes. Now, and this kind of question popped into my head, and I forget the exact timeline of when Microsoft released the statement of like, oh, going forward, like all of our studio, or like a lot of our studios need to hit this 30% profit margin. I don't remember if it was pre Outer Worlds 2 or post Outer Worlds 2. I forget.
it was slightly before, I want to say.
Okay. So I'll still ask the question, but do you think Obsidian doing this, regardless of whether Microsoft put a proverbial, their proverbial feet to the fire and said, "Oh, we need you to launch all 3 of these games in a year," or it was Obsidian's own doing? Do you think this was like the final nail in the coffin to basically for Microsoft to come out and be like, "We need all the if you're going to release this many games, they all need to hit some way or another." You know what I mean? It's like, or if you're not going to have multiple titles that you release hit, then we're gonna axe them or whatever. Like, so in other words, was Obsidian releasing 3 games in a year the cause for Microsoft to come out and be like, all right, going forward, we need you to hit this 30% profit margin?
I don't think so. I think it's Microsoft. I think it is the higher ups that are like, we're seeing these huge, long developments, and it's costing hundreds of millions of dollars to put out games, and we're not seeing, what we deem, because you look at Microsoft, they put out, Microsoft Windows, and they, they make money. Yeah, it was down like 3% or whatever from last year. But you look at that and it's like, the iterations from one Windows to the next is not that huge.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a little bit different layout. I hate Windows 11. It sucks. But like with gaming, it's a lot more different. So I don't think they fully understand that side of things. And I like the marketing for these games was awful.
True. Avowed was pretty much non-existent until right before release. It was just like, here it is.
Yeah, it like we've got to do a better job. Like, there are ways to get people excited about these games that doesn't take a huge budget to do that. And I know like the game director was talking about, being able to do things faster and more affordable and everything, because you've got these huge teams, and it's like, if we can do something where it takes us 2-3 years to develop a game and we use half of that staff, that would have taken us a 6-year game, and we make a shorter experience. Like when you do these big open world games that are 100 hours, like, yeah, you're going to be working on it for 6 years. Like that's just the truth of it. And it's like, if we could just make that a little bit smaller, a little bit like more neatly packaged and a more unique story, you're going to have a much better time.
The old adage, less is more.
Yeah. Like how long did you play Expedition 33? Like, what was your game clock, do you think?
I think on my save file, it was definitely over 40 hours.
Okay. So not that bad. Like it's not a 100-hour game.
Correct.
But you still feel like you have gotten your money's worth, right?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Okay. Do you feel the same with Avowed? I know you
haven't not
it.
Finished it. I feel like it could be there, but not really.
Yeah. That's the point right there. Took 33 people to make it.
Yeah. For those that come after.
Mentioning of that, those that come after. Let's talk about the Patreon Quick Hits. The Patreon Quick Hits are brought to you by our wonderful patrons. Go and support the Nerd Cave by getting your very own Nerd Cave membership to help continue to make awesome shows just like this one and our awesome anime content that we've got going on. Guys, we got a lot of cool stuff, and we also stream each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. We're currently playing Expedition 33, and it's a ton of fun. So help support a 1.5 person business here. We love making content for you. You can also check us out on Substack, all those good places. But if you want to support us, patreon.com/nerdcave is the best place to support us. You can grab a membership that best fits your budget. If you don't have any bucks to toss, that's okay as well. You can get a free one over there, and you can check us out on YouTube. But if you want to support us financially, go to patreon.com/nerdcave, become part of the ship, part of the crew. Now for the Patreon Quick Hits.
All right, starting off, players who finish the Neo 3 demo by February 15th will receive a free gift. Neo 3 reportedly has a 6-month console exclusivity window on the PlayStation 5. Resident Evil Requiem production started 6 years ago on a small scale, but the final version only came about in the last 3 years. Mighty Number 9 developer Concept has officially shut down. Borderlands 4 finally gets a photo mode. God of War show picks up Severance's Olafur Dari Olafsson to play Thor. That's not all, though. God of War finds its live-action Odin in Criminal Minds' Mandy Patinkin. Lastly, God of War show brings back Alistair Duncan to play Mimir, Let's Go, as actors Danny Woodburn and Jeff Golka will play Brock and Sindri, respectively. Rainbow Six Siege gets Solid Snake as a new operator. Prop Hunt is coming to World of Warcraft later this year. Stardew Valley creator shuts down rumors Haunted Chocolatier will be abandoned, insisting it will come out when it's ready. More than 3 years later, Nintendo just added health bars to Splatoon 3. Amazon is releasing all episodes of Fallout Season 1 for free on YouTube ahead of Season 2 finale. A GDC survey reveals devs are more interested in working on PlayStation 5 or Switch than Xbox, and making games for it at least. Sony is reportedly launching a new OLED version of the PS Portal this year. Rumor, Mind's Eye developer Build a Rocket Boy is looking to part ways with its publishing partner, IO Interactive. Rumor, Nintendo has begun development on a Metroid film. However, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond reportedly hasn't even hit 1 million copies sold yet, prompting fan concern over the series' future. After going gold, Crimson Desert dev deep in optimization phase to make the game run as good as it possibly can before launch. Tekken 8 Season 3 DLC lineup includes Kunimitsu and Bob. Sony patents PlayStation controller design featuring a touchscreen that lets the user choose where the buttons go. Sony also patents a system to generate AI podcasts in the voices of your favorite PlayStation characters. The Witcher 3 composer is returning for The Witcher 4. Report, Ashes of Creation developer Intrepid Studios shuts down weeks after the MMO's early access launch. The Game Awards 2026 sets its premiere date for December 10th, and I feel like we just got through discussing and experiencing the Game Awards for 2025. Silent Hill F actors appointed tourism ambassadors for the Japanese city that inspired the game. Konami is working on a new Silent Hill game outside of the Silent Hill 1 remake and Silent Hill Townfall. Netflix is no longer supporting the PS3 starting on March 2nd. Mario Kart World is Switch 2's best-selling game so far, and it's not even close. But again, just like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you bundles it in, it kind of like add. Anyway, I'm not going to get on that soapbox. Switch becomes Nintendo's best-selling hardware ever, while Switch 2 has already outsold the Wii U's lifetime total. And I'm surprised it's now coming out because I feel like at launch, the Switch 2 already beat the Wii U's lifetime total because it only sold 12 units of the Wii U. Nintendo acknowledges Switch 2 sales have been slightly weaker than expected outside Japan. GTA 6 marketing will kick off this summer as Take-Two confidently reaffirms November release date. The Division Definitive Edition quietly launches, but it's not the remaster some had hoped for. What a shock. Ubisoft disappointment. Who would have thought? EA reports strong earnings for Q3 thanks in large part to Battlefield 6 sales. Pokemon to celebrate 30th anniversary with Super Bowl commercial, special merch, TCG collection, and more. Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch again, and 5 new heroes will arrive next week. PUBG Blind Spot, or PUBG in general, we haven't heard of in a very long time, is a new free-to-play 5v5 tactical shooter spinoff and is now available in Steam Early Access. Excuse me. Fans blame Microsoft's initial $80 price for killing hype for Outer Worlds 2 and leading to underperforming sales. And lastly, Borderlands 4 Switch 2 development paused as Take-Two says it's incredibly excited about bringing other games to Nintendo's console instead. Womp womp.
Well, there you go. Just to point out, I don't know if you know who Mandy Patinkin is.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I know him from Criminal Minds.
Okay, so for the people that don't know who he is, just to show everybody real quick, you will know him as soon as I show. Let's do this. He is probably best known for his role on The Princess Bride.
Oh,
he's my name is Antonio. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I think he will do a fantastic job. I totally didn't share this, but that's who he is.
Yeah.
For everybody that didn't know, because I was like, I vaguely remember that name, but yeah, that's him from back in the day. You know,
crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and now he's playing Odin.
Now he's playing Odin.
I love that they're bringing back Alistair Duncan to play the voice Mimir.
Same dude, because he's just going to be ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, he is going to play Odin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be super dope. So just wanted to share that. That is going to be awesome. Well, there you have it, everybody. That is this week's episode of the Nerd Cave News. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to go over and subscribe to patreon.com/nerdcave and all the podcast services around the globe. This has been Zach
and Derek.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye-bye.